Hello, welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Decker. With me, as always, my co-host, the Mercso, Mike Merkel.
I'm here.
And welcome back. Slow clap it up for the whale man himself. Mike doesn't care. Kyle Budzanowski is in the house.
Who's here?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
Mr. Whale, as we like to call him
Yeah.
here.
No, he's Vineyard Vine. He's got the Santa Claus shirt on
There you
today.
go.
Yeah, we
There
have
we
to
go.
get festive once in a
He's
while.
festive every once in a while. I know. Guys, we got a lot to go over this week, though. I mean, the biggest weekend in college football up to this point. Championship Saturday was yesterday, as of this recording. We've got to talk about our Final Four predictions now that we kind of know who's won all of their league championships. If there's any change for you, 1 through 4. I know Mike is really excited about that. Sorry, Kyle, Michigan is not in the Final Four. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert for anybody out there who thought they had a slim chance of getting in. No, they do not have any chance of getting in. We're going to talk Lamar Jackson like we promised last week, Mike's, where we're going to talk about not only him, but this new wave of quarterbacks and how quick the NFL is pretty eager to crown some of these guys as like the next crop of guys behind the Mannings and the Bradys and all that good stuff. We're going to talk AEW for a minute. We're going to talk about, has the shine been taken off of AEW? Have they just kind of become another wrestling company after the initial buzz? And we're going to go with the state of the franchise moment for the Detroit Red Wings and how great their season has started off. And if you follow the Red Wings at all, you know that's a complete lie. But we've got so much to go over this week, so let's just jump right into it. College football, championship Saturday, Mike. We saw a Big Ten champion crown. We saw a Pac-12 champion crown. We saw an ACC champion crown. We saw an SEC champion crown. We saw whatever else. The champion crown. Doesn't matter. But we now pretty much, in my estimation, we probably know our Final Four now, right? LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Clemson, right? Those are the four. Not in that order, but those are the four teams, right? So can we all agree that that's who we think is more than likely going to get in? I don't think there's any case for any other team out there right now. No Bamas. No Utahs, no Oregons, much to Mike's dismay, no Georgias, right? Let's just talk about these four teams real quick in particular. I'm going to start with you, Mike. How impressive was LSU last night?
LSU was the most impressive team last night. And people will say Clemson won by more, but Clemson also played Virginia. So
goes to show you the strength of the ACC, right?
Yeah. LSU just they went in, did what they had to do, won by 30 points, and I'm hoping we can help. They come out. So once you guys hear this recording, the Final Four will already be out because it comes out Sunday at like 1 o'clock or something. Recording this at 11 in the morning.
Yep.
But I'm hoping LSU gets to jump to number 1. I think you get better matchups if they're the number 1 seed, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But great performance. Joe Burrow might be the new Heisman.
Phenomenal performance, truly was. And I think that they make the case for number 1 as well. They beat the number 4 team in the country. Right at the time, Georgia was technically in the playoff if it had to start before yesterday's matchup. So I think they had the most impressive performance by far, considering the quality of opponent. Now, I want to talk to you, Kyle. Tell me what you liked from Ohio State going out of this Wisconsin game. They fell early. They were down early, right? Made a roaring comeback in the second half. Well, I don't think Wisconsin scored in the second half. So, you know what I mean? Justin Fields playing out of his mind at the end of that game, making some big-time throws. Talk to me about Ohio State. If you are a Ohio State fan, take the win, take the undefeated record out of it for a second. How confident are you, if you're an Ohio State fan, in this team going to the Final Four?
If I'm an Ohio State fan, which I'm not.
Yeah, right. No, let's be clear. None of us are. Let's be clear.
But if I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm feeling very confident right now because what you saw yesterday was Ohio State going through some adversity.
Hey, it's been a few months, guys.
It's been a few months. But that's something that you've never seen all season. Even the Michigan game, it was kind of close at halftime, but you knew it was over by the third quarter. But this is the first time you're down at halftime. You're facing some sort of actual real talent you have to play against and actually have to beat. And we know that they kind of blew them out the first time they played. The second time they're down 2 touchdowns. You're like, oh crap, we actually have to make the adjustments to come back and win. And that's something we saw. Justin Fields balled out. J.K. Dobbins balled out. Their defense.
J.K. Dobbins is like, I know we give a lot of credit to the quarterbacks here, but J.K. Dobbins is what makes that offense run. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're averaging 5, 6, 7 yards every time you touch the football, that's pretty damn impressive.
This is a weird year where all the running backs, all 4 teams, are just so good.
So good, right? Yeah.
So Travis Etienne is just going absolutely nuts. Also, running back from LSU had like 4 touchdowns against Alabama.
Yeah.
Like all these running backs are just going crazy right now.
Yeah, no, and that's what's crazy too is that a lot of these teams, especially because of the quality of the quarterback play as well, and then you're just like, oh, but also I can hand the ball off for 25 times. If the pass game ain't working, here you go. Dobbins, just eat. You know what I mean? So it was extremely impressive. Now let's go back to you, Mike. Talk to me about Clemson. I mean, your boy Trevor Lawrence. He's the man. He hasn't lost a game yet in his college career. Talk to me about their performance against Virginia. What'd you like, and how confident are you if you're a Clemson fan, knowing you're the defending national champions, and you haven't lost a game in 2 years?
Yeah, Clemson is just absolutely unbelievable. They've, I think, become the new Alabama of college football. You just kind of look at them and go, they're in.
Especially with the easiness of the ACC, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you're going to blow through your division pretty easily every single year. You're kind of getting the Patriots run right now.
A little bit, honestly.
Where you're just going, okay, so you start the season, you're going 8-0 in your conference. Like, the Patriots go 6-0, 5-1 in their division. And then you're sitting there going, okay, so now you're out of conference games. You have one ranked team, and then Ball State and North Dakota State.
Tune-up game, and then you got one ranked opponent, and then you're in.
Yeah. So
in the ACC championship.
But besides that, Trevor Lawrence, since the North Carolina game where they got their little scare, could have lost the game. Now has been balling out with 17 or 18 touchdowns, no picks, averaging 300 yards a game. He's like ready for these playoffs. Their defense is extraordinary. And Travis Etienne, if Trevor Lawrence is having like some rough times early on, can really just help.
Hand the ball off.
Here, I'll get you 100 yards to start, and then you just help us ball too.
Right. And that's the thing too. I think Clemson, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, Mike, where I think Clemson is the team out of these 4, we're going to talk about Oklahoma in a second, but is the one team that's kind of running under the radar a little bit. I don't think people are paying close enough attention to Clemson because they play in the ACC, right? They're kind of like, all right, they're there, right? Like if Bama beat LSU, right, and was in the SEC championship, I don't think anybody would be talking about Bama. They'd be like, oh yeah, it's Bama. They're just going to be in. So I think that Clemson is the one team where I don't think anybody's talking about, but they could potentially be the best team.
I think you can also look that they don't even have a Heisman candidate on their team.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I also think that you're kind of waiting because Trevor Lawrence has another year, so he'll probably start getting in it next year. But like you look at LSU, you got Burrow, who's probably going to win it. But then you look at Ohio State has 2 guys. You have Dobbins and Justin Fields that are up there, and Chase Young.
Chase Young theoretically
are all
I mean,
three
the
of them
defense player ain't winning it, but point being,
And then you got Jalen Hurts as like the 5th
guy,
the 5th guy from Oklahoma, who we're gonna talk about in a second. So then Clemson sitting there and go, we don't have that Heisman guy. We're all just like pro guys that are about to go like steamroll through this thing. So
it's extremely interesting, and I think that as we get the official word coming out later today, we're going to just find out, see what these matchups are. I'm really looking forward to breaking down each game specifically because that's going to be a good time. Kyle, talk to me about Oklahoma. Big win over Baylor. They had a little bit of a scare there. Got to get it done in overtime. If you're an Oklahoma fan, are you just happy that they got in and now that you have a quote-unquote shot at making, doing something? Or are you like, I'm still nervous and I don't think we have much of a chance up against any of these other 3 teams because A, your defense is still a sieve, you know what I mean? Anybody goes right down the field and scores on you. And 2, you almost lost to a 3rd-string quarterback, you know what I mean, playing Baylor this past weekend. So how confident are you if you are an Oklahoma fan?
If I'm an Oklahoma fan, I'm not very confident. because
I thought you were going to go complete opposite. You're like, no, I'm fine. I got Jalen Hurts. We're good.
Because unless Jalen Hurts has like his Heisman moment, wins the Heisman this year because he scored 7 touchdowns against whoever. And if I'm an Oklahoma fan, I'm almost wanting to play LSU because I feel like if you can because if you can somewhat stop the run, I mean the pass, which they won't be able to. I feel like they have a much weaker run game than Ohio State does. I feel like you do not want to go against J.K. Dobbins because if they have to worry about him, and then that opens the pass game, which you can't stop already. There's Baylor's third string QB.
Do you think that Oklahoma, because of how explosive their offense is, knowing that LSU is going to score anyway, do you think that Oklahoma would rather get into somewhat of a shootout matchup type of game rather than force your our defense is going to let up 49 tonight. Like that's just straight up. We know that threshold. We got to put up 50. You know what I mean? Would you feel more comfortable if you're Lincoln Riley and an Oklahoma team to go, I'd rather get in a shootout because I have enough confidence in my offense that we can put up 50 points? Or are you you're like, okay, we may be able to put up this, but we just got to figure out a way to stop them compared to some other teams, knowing that you can't stop anybody?
No, yeah, you're just hoping for a shootout. That's exactly what you're hoping for. Because if you're going and trying to actually stop them, thinking that okay, we're going to need them to hold them this many points for us to win, that's something below 40. Then I don't know what in their mind they'd be able to.
I would agree to a certain extent though, because they only allowed 23 against Baylor.
Right.
Baylor is in the Big 12, who scores a lot of points.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
They only put up 30 too, so it's like
that's what I mean though. Where they went almost in a defensive shootout for a while, and their 2 or 3 scores came off of broken coverages.
Right.
Like if the safety just goes back on one of those plays. He doesn't go off for 81 yards for a touchdown or an 80-yard run or whatever. Right. Unlike CeeDee Lamb, who has the ability to break stuff like that, Oklahoma just had all broken coverages for their big games.
Do you think then to bring this up then, right? Do you think that Oklahoma's defense is not high? I would not say touted necessarily, but do you think that I'm undervaluing their defense?
I think you are. I think. You look at them for the last 3 years, but they've exponentially gotten better.
Correct.
And
no doubt.
right now they're in the top 50 in every defensive statistical category. Which you go, oh, top 50, wow, good job, guys. But last year they were when Kyler Murray was there, they were in the hundreds for each statistical category.
No doubt.
So you're getting that much better. Plus your offense can put up 49 or 50 if you need to.
Do you think that because of that though, right? Even with their defense being where it's ranked, right? Do you think that they have any chance of stopping any 3 of these offenses? Because I guess here's my point to that is, right, is that Baylor got stopped, but then Baylor also stopped them, so it's like they knew what each other's strengths were. If you're an Ohio State or Clemson or an LSU, right, okay, one thing's not working, I'll hand the ball. If that's not working, I'm going to air it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know if they just have enough necessarily, or do you think they do where you can go, okay, you know what I mean? We've got a plan to at least limit one of the damage, right? Either on the ground or the air, we have an ability to take one of these away.
Yeah, I think that I think they can take at least one, even both away.
What's your favorable matchup for them? If you're Oklahoma, they're the 4. Let's just assume they're the 4, right? Yeah. So if you have to pick between either Ohio State or LSU, I guess Clemson too, but I don't think Clemson makes the jump to 1.
No, I don't think so.
Out of those 2 teams, which one, if you are Oklahoma, are you going, I want them first because I think we have a better chance of getting to the finals?
I would take Ohio State only because I don't think, even though their defense is stronger, I think Ohio State's offense isn't as strong. So I think if you can get the ball to CeeDee Lamb and put up 49, I don't know if Ohio State will put up 49. I know LSU puts up 49.
Right.
Now, I think that's one of those I think you have a better shot at just going to a shootout with LSU, maybe. Right. But at the same time, I would take the chance of if I can tell you, okay, you're going to score 49 on one of the 2. Who do you want to play?
Yeah.
I'm playing Ohio State because I don't know if Ohio State can keep up scoring wise with you. However, that defense is better.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
For sure. And I think too, and we talked about this. If we talked about this last week too, where I do think that Michigan and Wisconsin, you saw that in the first half, did exactly what Michigan did. Yeah. Right? They went, we're going to throw the ball right at you. Screw the run. Right? I know Taylor had a pretty nice day on the whole, but the first 2 drives of that game, they were chucking it down the field as far as they could, completely against what Wisconsin does, naturally. They want to hand the ball 35 times, control the clock, it's 17-10 victories, right? Yeah. And they went and attacked that Ohio State defensive
And that's what I'm saying.
backfield.
If you can, and with a more explosive offense.
Right, to your point. That's what I'm saying, to your point. I think Jalen Hurts could be...
If you're getting there and you can go 7, if you can take the lead, if you get the ball first and you're going 7-0, 14-0, 17-0, Ohio State's like, okay, I don't know if we can stop your offense. And in that case, you're going to like a mini shootout. But if you go up 14 points, I don't know if you're going to be able to catch that because there's no chance.
Yeah, I think contrary to what happened last night where they went down 14-0, I think Oklahoma's offense is good enough to maintain and not die out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wisconsin just goes, okay, our quarterback is so limited and all we do is our run game, where once you stop the pass, we're screwed, but I don't think you can really stop Jalen Hurts in that pass game.
Okay, so here's what I want to do now, guys. Give me I'm gonna give you guys each another. We just kind of went through, why you should be excited. I'm going to ask you now the opposite side. If you're an Ohio State fan, right? What is your biggest concern? I know we talked about this with Ellie a couple weeks ago, right? Yeah. Going into the Michigan game, but now you're talking the best 4 teams in the country now. Yeah. So the stakes are raised. You're all Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC champions, right? There's no more of that. If you are the head coach of this football team, I'm going to give you the first one, Mike. I'm going to give you Ohio State. If you're Ryan Day right now, what is your number one concern going into this Final Four? I'm not talking about matchups because we'll probably do that next week and when we find out who's got who. But your number one area of concern for your football team, what is it, and what are you just hoping that everyone's kind of like, maybe they don't notice that?
Justin Fields and the receivers, I think, is the weakest part.
Really? Yeah. Well, I was not expecting that.
Well, because I think you like Dobbins and that old line you've seen can absolutely dominate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their defense, Chase Young will get to you, and your defense, you have probably the best corner in college football, and you have a very elite linebacking core. So there's not a lot of weaknesses on the defense.
To be fair, just to interrupt you real quick, there's not really many true deficiencies for any of these teams. I mean, the best teams in the country. So we're nitpicking a little bit. But if there's something that these coaches need to exploit, that's why we're doing this, is to show that they're not perfect. No. You know what I mean? Like, they may look perfect, they've played perfect, but they're not perfect.
And you saw it yesterday with Wisconsin, where the second you get to Justin Fields, you sack him a few times, he kind of gets out of a rhythm.
Yep,
that's where you have to get to, is just get him out of the rhythm. Michigan tried that by sending their box defense kind of thing, and you got to him a few times.
And then you have broken coverage, and then
exactly
gone. Yep.
Like, you can, as Kyle pointed out, the only way Michigan could have won that game is putting them in 2nd and 19, 3rd and 18, which they were able to do.
But then they couldn't get off the field on 3rd and 18.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's what I mean is if you're playing Clemson, say.
So you're saying force Justin Fields, right? If you get a lead, force Justin Fields to beat you.
Yeah.
Right? And
if Jalen Hurts goes out up to 14-0 and you're forcing Justin Fields to beat you, I think Oklahoma has a great shot.
Okay, so let's go now, Kyle. I'm going to ask you, what is if you're Ed Orgeron, right? I love
LSU.
Oh my gosh, I love his voice. Just every time he does an interview, it always sounds like he's like just got done eating, or he's eating something currently while he's talking. If you're LSU, what is your number one area of concern going into these Final Four matchups? Knowing, okay, we're really good at a lot of things, but if there's something that they can get us on, what's your number one weakness for LSU?
I'm saying we're assuming that they'd be second, right?
But no, it doesn't matter. Just in general, right? Like if you're the opposing team scouting them, or you're the head coach of LSU, and you're going, man, we do a lot of things well, but this one thing is, if there's a weakness in this armor, what's that weakness?
It's been talked about a lot. I think we all know it, but LSU's main weakness is their defense, mainly their secondary, and I'm scared if you're going up against a Trevor Lawrence or a Jalen Hurts, like those deep balls, I think that could really hurt you. I know that your offense could put up a lot of points, but if there's a way that they can lose those games, is this those shootouts where Joe Burrow might not be able to put as many points because your defense is giving up so much to these great quarterbacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's gonna be
I think that's good. I think another one too, just kind of like a low key one. I don't think LSU's receivers have great hands. We saw that last night too, a little bit against Georgia, where I think they make some spectacular plays, but sometimes there was a couple balls that those were touchdowns. That game could have got a lot uglier, a lot faster, but they had a couple drops. So that's just something minor to kind of look at. In my opinion, I was like, man, those are the plays you have to make in big time situations. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So you brought up Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts. Do you think Justin Fields against LSU could do damage? So do you think, what if LSU and Ohio State play each other? What's their weakness? What's LSU's? Yeah. Because you brought up the crazy offensive play, but you didn't bring up Justin Fields. So are you assuming that Justin Fields can't do that?
Well, I assume Justin Fields could do that, but I feel like Justin Fields could their offense could be much more of a threat when you have him like running like out of the pocket, exploding plays.
Kills.
Yeah. Like I feel like that's how they would kill LSU.
Is the read option not like throwing the ball down the field?
Yeah, I think Fields on his legs.
Honestly, I think that what's funny about that is it's kind of like an inverse of what you're saying for me, because I feel like they would be so concerned with the run because J.K. Dobbins is what makes this offense go.
Yeah.
I'd almost feel like LSU would do everything in their power to stop the run, and by doing that, by doing a lot of man coverage, I feel like that is where theoretically, I mean, on the scoreboard and statistically, I think that's where Fields would do the most damage, is because they're emphasizing so much on the run that's where you've got Olave, who's the fastest dude ever, just running right by your corner, and your safety goes, oh crap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Fields just hit him because Ohio State doesn't, dink and dunk down the field. That's really not their offense. It's hand it off, read option, or we're taking a big play down the middle of the field, or some misdirection stuff. You know what I mean? They're not much of a quick slant, okay, 3 yards, okay, 5 yards, okay, 7. No, it's, all right, here's a 15-yard gain. Here's a 7-yard, you know what I mean? It's bigger chunk plays in that offense. So, to your point, I think that their secondary is their weakness, but I think it becomes more of a weakness against a team like Ohio State because of Dobbins' effectiveness and their ability to go, we got to stop the run.
Yeah.
We have to stop the run, and if we don't do that, there's no way in hell we're stopping the pass. Last team, Oklahoma.
No, you're getting Clemson.
I'm getting Clemson. All right, so Clemson, if I have to say there's a weakness, I think it's twofold. I think it's number one, you haven't played anybody all year, legitimately, right? You really haven't. I think there's that. And I think, two, it's the complacency a little bit. Because we've seen it with Alabama and stuff where they just cruise through the whole regular season. There is not a specific weakness on this team where I go, oh, the secondary is just horrendous, right? Or that's a glaring weakness. I don't think their pass rush is as dominant as it once was either. I think that could be something where if you can't generate pressure and you just let all three of these good quarterbacks just kind of stand there and just go, and look, so at some point somebody's going to be open. I think that could be an issue. And I also think that in the specific case of Trevor Lawrence's case, where he's been on such a hot streak, similar to LSU with Burrow, they've been playing so well for so long, I'm worried that at one point that candel's just going to go like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you're all of a sudden like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Because we've seen that in big games before where quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts from 2 years ago, where he was the most dynamic player in football, and then he gets to the final game of the year, and they put up 3 points, and he gets benched. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's the thing. I like Clemson's my favorite team to win this whole thing. Just straight up. Just because I think they're the most complete team with now a glaring weakness. But as we pointed out, right, they're not perfect by any means. So I think the pass rush needs to be there. But all right, last one, Mike. Oklahoma. Biggest weakness for you?
It's probably just their defense in general. They're the weakest of the 4 defenses.
Yeah.
However, they can get the stop if need be. Mm-hmm. They just statistically won't. Mm-hmm. They'll let up the most amount of points against whoever they play. They'll let up the 30, 40-point game. Mm-hmm. So their offense is going to have to keep up.
Do you think that Oklahoma would be best served, right, where it's like, because they have quick strike ability, Oklahoma does, right, on offense. Do you think that as long as Oklahoma's defense just prevents the big play, even if they pull a Lions and they just go, no, we're not going to prevent the big play, but we're just going to let you dink and dunk us all the way downfield and then score? Yeah. Do you think that their offense has enough where they can just go, all right, we'll score in 3 plays and just milk out every last drop of that offense that you have to score on us? Yeah. And do you think as long as they keep it close that their offense the other day has the ability, with 30 seconds left, we're going to go down the field and score?
Maybe. I think that is a very probable case that could happen. I do think if they win the toss or whatever, I think they need to get the ball first.
Mm-hmm. Go up early, and they're always ahead of it.
I think you always need to be ahead because the second they're going to get behind.
Then that's plan.
Yeah, the plan kind of shoots out the window. But if they can go up 7-0, then their defense gets up 1-7, you go up 14-0.
Honestly, all you have to do is just hold them to a field goal one time. Yeah. Hold them to a field goal, and if you're banking, all right, we're going to score 6 out of every 7 possessions, then you're always ahead.
Exactly.
That's a great point. And usually it's the opposite, right? You always defer 95% of the time. But
think even in this case, if they do or if you get it, you're just like, I want to receive, or they get it, they're gonna kick. Yeah. Either way, I think you should end up with the ball first.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Obviously, presumably Oklahoma's offense shows up, but that's great stuff.
Yeah, unless they score 7.
Next week we're gonna go over the matchups themselves and say who wins and why for each team. Give you some probabilities on both sides. Hopefully, the Whaleman is here for us next week.
I will be in Chicago.
You're gonna be in Chicago?
Yeah. Doing what?
Yeah, what are you doing?
You
ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing.
Hey, call me in. I'll tell you.
Whatever. You're dead to me already. All right, that's going to be it for part 1 of episode 54. After the break, we're talking the state of the franchise with the Red Wings under the first season of Stevie Y. We're talking AEW. Has it lost its shine to the Merc Zone? I don't know. We're going to ask him here in a little bit. And we're going to be talking Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Sam Dunn, all those big-time quarterbacks that the NFL is so eager to anoint. Are they the true future kings of the NFL, or is it all a bunch of hoopla? All that after the break. Stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of the I'm Always Right Sports podcast, episode, I think, 54. It's crazy. Time is flying when we're having fun. Let's just jump right into it, though. Let's talk some Wings. It's the first time in a while that we've talked Red Wings action, and for good reason. Let's be clear. They're terrible. They're not playing well. I think they have the worst record in hockey now, Mike. Right? Long droughts of losing. Clearly, right? You see, players are going up, down, up and down. I know it sounds like every Detroit sport right now, unfortunately, but I will say that we're seeing a lot of movement. Right? A lot of guys are getting recalled and back up, and everything else from Grand Rapids. They're trying to cut ties with some guys. I know Ericsson's been up and down on the roster. I know Zadina's had some runs here, our top pick from last year. But you're seeing not so much a youth movement, but we're just seeing different combinations, and they're just trying to figure out, I think, what they have. But Kyle, I want to start with you. This is the first year with the Red Wings with Steve Yzerman in charge, right? If you are a Red Wings fan, knowing that this is going as poorly as it can go to start off, but we don't see is a whole bunch of people like clamoring for jobs. We don't see anybody freaking out. They're all like, no, it's part of the plan. Do you think that right now Red Wings fans are more tolerant of the losing because Steve Yzerman is in charge?
Yeah, I think just that when you hear the Yzerman name, you're like, okay, it's Steve Yzerman, all the history. And I think the average, not like the hardcore fan, but the average fan is really not paying attention. Yeah, okay.
That's a great point. Honestly, you're right.
I get notifications every time they play, they lost 7-1. Okay, I close out of it, yada, yada, yada. I feel like that's the average fan. I feel like the average fan's not going to really pay attention until they start getting better. So I feel like that's why there's no, backlash. We want new guys, and I mean, we don't even from the hardcore fans. I mean, it's just a rebuilding season.
It's extremely hard to watch them.
I'm sure it is.
It's extremely hard to watch. I've tuned into a couple and I just go, this is terrible. This is just rough go. And I think you can see it on the players' side too, right? They're frustrated. They know they can play better hockey than they're playing. We've seen bits and pieces. We've seen flashes from guys, but we just haven't seen the complete game really get put together for long stretches of time. Now, Mike,
what do you think their record is right now?
I'm going to say 5.
Okay, they played 28 games.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to say 5, and the rest are losses. 5 wins.
7 wins.
Dang, I was close. They
are 7-21.
Holy
with
crap. 17
points.
Yeah.
The next highest team in 29th place, 23 points. So they're 6 points behind.
Going for that first pick. I love it. But point being, so Mike, I want to ask you this. So knowing that what the record is, right?
Yeah.
And I think Kyle is spot on when he says that no one's paying attention right now, right? And even Yzerman himself in his press conference, which we talked about, a few months ago, it's available in the archives, where he said this is not going to be a 1-year turnaround, right? It's not going to be a 2-year turn. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of crap that needs to get cleaned out of this team before we can truly see what we have. Now, I want to ask you, if Ken Holland were to have said that, right? Like, listen, we're trying to do something here, but this is a rebuilding phase. And he kind of did a couple years ago where he said, if you expect a challenge for a Stanley Cup every year, you're crazy. You know what I mean? Do you think that Yzerman is getting a little bit of a pass right now because he's trying to figure out what this team is? And if this team was performing the same way with Holland, do you think that this would just be oh my gosh, he needs to be fired right away? I'm not saying this is Yzerman's fault. Clearly, it's not. No. It's definitely Holland's. He's the one who kind of put us in this mess. But point being is that you're not hearing anything.
I think it's better only because I think if Holland was here, people would be flipping out more because Yzerman just kind of inherited the team.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of like, I mean, I'm trying my best.
Yeah,
like, give me some time to figure this out. And I think fans are more like responsive of that. You know what I mean? Like, I think if like Patricia comes in the first year, right, and they were really bad the previous year, and then we were bad that next year, he would be like, guys, I'm just trying to figure out this team, give me another year. People are more like, okay, like, I'll give you a couple more years or whatever, but now you kind of see a decline. I think it's going to be soon. If like the team just never turns around, then you're gonna see the I think you're lying.
I think every regime needs at least a 3-year window, right? That's why we've talked about this before. Maybe not necessarily on the air, but we're not necessarily in favor of Patricia being fired right this minute, right? I do think you know what I mean. I think it's close.
We're close.
Well, no, I agree, right? I think this is make or break.
Heating up.
Yeah, I think this is I think next year is his make or break time. You know what I mean? I think, but you can't go every 2 years and fire your coach. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Point being is that I do think that Yzerman clearly inherited a very, very, very bad roster, right? We can all agree with that. There's very few bright spots on this team, no matter what anybody says. But with that being said, what is that? Oh, is that the Alistair Overeem's shot? Oh, good Lord, gross. Anyway, I do say, with that being said, though, I think that as time goes on here, you're getting worse because you believe in the plan. But if that plan at some point does not start to kind of show itself a little bit, you know, in the next year or so, I think you're going to start seeing people get a little angry. I think first the thing will go, Blashill will be fired.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're going, what's next after that? And you're like, okay, what else is there? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't take them a super long time to turn around Tampa Bay. So it needs to be... It's gonna need
hopefully
to be,
we need one of these.
We need one of these teams to do something. My
it's been a while.
Good
Isn't
Lord.
it sad that the Pistons are like the best team in Detroit and they have like 7 wins out of 20 right now?
Oh gosh, don't even say. I think they're ninth. Are they ninth in the East right now, or did they move back to 8th again? I think they're 8th right now. I'm like 95% sure
they moved up. They were like
they just beat the
2 days ago.
No, but they won back to back. They lost to the Bucks and they just beat Indiana. So I think they're technically. I think they've won 3 out of 4. So I think they're. They're ninth. Still, wow. What are they? 1 game back? Oh, they're several games back. But anyway, no, I agree with you though. But you know, if you're a Red Wings fan, my one piece of advice is buckle up. It's going to be a minute. So just embrace the suck. Hope we get the first overall pick, and you know what I mean. Hopefully we get that transcendent talent. You know, and you know, Yzerman's not afraid to make deals. He's made several since he got here. So I think that we're just trying to figure out what the cap situation is. I feel like once they get the cap under control, I think you're going to see a big signing, and I think that's when you're going to see this team kind of get jump started a little bit. Sometimes all you need is that like a guy, you know what I mean, like one guy where you can go, that's it, you know what I mean. So it's going to be fun to see. You know, embrace the suck for now, but knowing hopefully you have the right guy in charge. That's really what you're hoping for. But all right, let's shift now. Let's talk Lamar Jackson. Let's talk Baker Mayfield. Let's talk Sam Darnold. Let's talk Josh Allen. Let's talk Danny Dimes. Let's talk the youth movement at the quarterback position in the NFL. Now, Mike, we talked about this just a little bit last week about Lamar. He's the new hotness right now, clearly, right? He's everywhere. Everyone's talking about him. Baltimore's playing great football. Big win over San Francisco last week. But what I want to talk about is these guys. And I'm talking to you specifically first because you're a resident quarterback here of the group. You know, we got the wide receiver, we've got the coach, and we've got the quarterback. So it all works out.
Yeah, we need an owner.
Yeah.
I guess it's Emily.
Yeah, and she has the money, so it makes sense. I married her, so I have no money anymore. So. Yeah. But in your opinion, right, is this the next crop of guys, right? We've seen Manning's retired. Eli's basically a backup now. You know, even though he's going to start on Monday night.
He's starting.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
He's starting to.
You know, Brady's getting up there. Breeze is getting up there. Phillip Rivers is getting up there. You know.
Stop saying that.
They are, dude. They're all getting. Dude, seriously, it's gonna be weird in a couple of years. They're all gonna be gone. It's weird. Fabry hasn't come back yet. Again,
Rodgers might be gone soon.
No. Please. Right? But even guys like Stafford and Kirk Cousins, right? They're in their 30s now, right? But we've got this young movement of guys. You know, you can throw Prescott in there even. Is this the new future, or are these guys Like, is this who we're going to be talking about in 5 years? Going, yeah, but if we had Lamar Jackson, we'd be the best team ever. Or you know what I mean? Because that's always been the talk is if there was a guy like Brady, oh man, if we had Brady, it would be so easy, right? Or if we had Peyton Manning, it'd be so easy. Yeah. You know, are we ever going to see the kind of talent like we've seen before with this new group and go, they're the team, or is it becoming more of a team sportish? I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, football is always a team sport, but what I mean by that is, can I take Brady, right, and I put him on a team, and do I have confidence that he's going to be able to win me a football game? The answer is yes, right? Can I take Peyton Manning? Like when you took Peyton Manning off the Colts, they were abysmal, right? But the year before that, AFC South winners, you know what I mean, consistent division championships, whatever, right? Do we have any of those guys? And the reason why I'm asking this is because the NFL is so quick. Last year was Baker Mayfield, right? This year it was, Sam Darnold's going to take that next step. You know, what's Lamar going to be? Patrick Mahomes was the MVP of the whole league last year, right? We saw these young group of quarterbacks, and everyone's like, okay, we're on it, let's go. And they've all, to a certain extent, with the exception of Lamar, and I would say Josh Allen, under the radar, have all kind of taken a step back. Baker has not looked good, right? Mahomes has looked human after the first 3-4 weeks of the season. You know, Sam Darnold looks like he's still seeing ghosts. So, you know what I mean? You know, Dak Prescott looks not good right now. He doesn't. Dallas is a dumpster fire. Talk to me. What are you seeing from this group of quarterbacks? I mean, is there a guy that is truly like the next guy of the league, like the one guy where you can go, he's the one, like he's like the face of the league. Go for it. No, that's what I want to know.
Kyle, real quick, who's your favorite quarterback right now?
My favorite?
Yes. Not your best. In general. Who's your favorite right now?
Oh God.
I got my hand up ready to slap him just in case he said something stupid.
I know.
That was great. That was great timing. That was awesome.
My favorite? I mean, my favorite right now is probably Lamar, just by how he played.
Okay. So just Lamar? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I just wanted to see because I knew you were going to say like Lamar or something. Yeah. I think honestly, ever since Russell Wilson came in, and I am a big Russell Wilson boy.
Yeah, we're definitely.
You are a Stafford boy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a Russell Wilson boy.
All day.
Respect.
Yes, for sure.
I think ever since you saw him come in and you saw the successfulness that he has in the movement of the pocket, I think that's just when the evolution of the quarterback evolved.
Absolutely.
And I will say there's a difference because I think when you go from 1 week playing Lamar and the next week playing Breeze, it's almost an easier transition playing Breeze. And the only reason is you don't have to worry about the mobility, and I think the mobility is what's killing people right now. However, I don't think mobility can sustain as long as like a sure pocket pass.
Yeah, like he's got the talent, the arm talent.
Yeah.
To just knock you out.
Yeah, I think the second if he ever gets an injury or anything, I think Lamar just kind of falls off the planet Earth kind of thing. But to say all that to say this, I think. Like, for a defensive game plan perspective, you go, okay, how do we stop Lamar? Well, first we have to stop the run. Then we have to stop the read option. Then he can also pass over, so now we got to stop that. When you go up against, like, a Brady or Breeze, they're going to pick you apart.
Read option to thing.
Read option is not a thing. Running the ball is not a thing. Right. You just go, we're going to send 4, and hopefully they don't break through our coverages. And get home, and hopefully we can do that. So I think... I think it's one, the spark, like Kyle says, of he's just fun to watch. He's playing him spinning around and doing all this stuff is just fun to watch. But 2, it's from the defensive side, you go, man, it's so much harder to game plan for a Russell Wilson or a Lamar Jackson than the Brady's of the world.
Let me ask you guys this then, Kyle. Let's start with you here on this. Mike makes a great point where is it sustainable, right? He doesn't think it's as sustainable as true arm talent would be, right? Where I can stand in the pocket, throw for 35 times and win you a football game, right? Like, there are certain guys in this league who can do that, right? Yeah. Brady could do that. I think Roethlisberger could still do that. I think Philip Rivers can do that. Stafford can do that. Rodgers can do that. There are certain guys, Breeze can do, right? There are certain guys where they don't need to run, and if they have to drop back 40 times, they're going to win you a football game. If you had to, right? Do you think that is Lamar's track record, and I want to talk about Lamar specifically because he's the new hotness right now, and they're playing so well. But watching that Niners game, I think that everyone is overshadowed a little bit by his running ability because I'm not saying he can't throw. I'm not gonna be that ignorant about it. But what I will say is that there are throws out there that could be a lot easier right, with a more natural thrower than him, right? Like, I think there are throws where he misses, even though, I get it, bad weather and everything else, there are throws where I go, you got to make that throw. You got to be able to make that throw. And I think it's overshadowed a little bit because he's averaging 9 yards a carry. You know what I mean? When he runs the ball. But is his success similar to what we were talking about last year with Baker Mayfield, similar to what we talked about Josh Allen is having a hell of a season this year, Dak Prescott, all these guys, they're mobile. They're faster than they've ever been, right? They all want to roll out and they want to run and gun and they want to be able to take it for 7-8 yards. There's not many guys who just stand back there anymore and just throw the football of this new era, of this new wave, right? Is it sustainable, or are we going to see like this wave, kind of like the Wildcat offense was a few years ago, where it was like, man, this is like revolutionary. Got Miami into the playoffs, won them a division, and then it was gone that fast. You know what I mean? Is it only a matter of time before defenses figure this out and how to contain it?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a wave thing, especially when you look at like the quarterbacks that will probably be in the draft this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Like let's say a Jake Fromm. He's a pocket passer.
Pocket passer, no doubt.
And so I think it's just kind of a wave thing. You got lucky with the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. They're big runners, but I think that you'll have waves where you just have a lot of pocket passers and true passers. And I think, like you said, can you stop something like that? I think. In the beginning, it's kind of hard to figure out, but I feel like there's going to be a real scare. If you're a running quarterback, there's a hell of a lot more chance that you get hurt.
Oh, no doubt.
The throwing ability is obviously not as well as a pocket passer, and I feel like that eventually defenses are going to be able to stop that, and that's when the injuries become prevalent.
Yeah.
And I think like over time, it's just going to become more of a problem than it's going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
Now here's the counterpoint to this theory of yours, though. I think Patrick Mahomes is doing it perfectly right now.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson already did it. Was early in their career, as in like last year, they were a lot of running around kind of thing. So they just saying screw it and doing it.
Yeah.
Now you see it more from Patrick Mahomes. Now Russell Wilson's been doing it for 5 years, where they extend the play, but you're looking down the field. Lamar just goes. It's not first read's not there, gone. Yeah. And he's going to get 10 yards.
Absolutely.
And I think sooner rather than later. Like, you'll say, okay, we're going to put Devin Bush on a spy right in the middle of the field on you, and you're not going to be able to run. What are you going to do? That's how you stop that. You know what I mean?
But that's the beautiful thing about, like, a Joe Burrow, because it's exactly what he does. He has legs, he doesn't really run, but that he can...
he has the ability to escape and get 8 yards, but he can also throw the 70-yard bomb. Those are the guys where I think if Lamar Jackson can transcend to, I'm going to keep my eyes down the field, but at worst-case scenario, I can get 15 yards with my feet, then he's going to be one of those Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes kind of players. That's kind of where you see like the RG3s go down and all these running quarterbacks that die out after a year.
To be fair, Mike Shanahan ruined RG3's career by playing that playoff game.
Yeah, but anyway, he would have called all these running quarterbacks and stuff, and the Baker Mayfields where they're just like, I have to roll out every single play or else I can't do it. You have to be able to get the pocket presence down, and that takes development for Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely.
But if he can't develop that, in a year he won't be a thing anymore.
Right, and that's why I'm talking about it, right? And that's the reason why right there is because I think that right now, right, it's working, right? Yeah. I am so hopeful that we see a Baltimore-New England playoff game so bad because I want to know if it's real, you're going to know it's real because I don't remember the last time I've seen New England lose to the same team twice in the same season, I should say, right? And I don't remember the last time I've seen it where, okay, they lost in the regular season, this team, okay, we'll be back. We'll be ready, right? And there's a game plan to beat it. You know what I mean? So, and I think San Francisco did a really nice job of containing him overall, right? That was not a high-scoring game. Just something for people to think about. I know that it's exciting. Lamar's fun. I mean, he's one of the most fun quarterbacks I've seen to watch. You know what I mean? So it's like he plays like Vic does. Yeah, he really does. He really played like Vic did in Atlanta. It was a lot of fun to watch. Sometimes it was maddening. You know, Vic was not a pure thrower by any means of the imagination. You know what I mean? But I think if he can transcend himself more to a McNabb kind of guy, where McNabb was able to sit in pocket and just throw. You know what I mean? McNabb, a very successful quarterback, 3 NFC Championship games, a Super Bowl appearance. That's the kind of guy that if you're Baltimore, you hope he becomes more than a Michael Vick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Michael Vick, as much success as he had, team success wasn't there all the time. You know what I mean? I think if you're I'd rather have McNabb's career than Vick's career.
And just to say, usually the fun team never normally wins
it. That's a great point, right?
I know that from basketball. Fun team never usually wins.
Absolutely. For something to think about though, for sure. It's gonna be weird to see guys like Brady and Breeze no longer. It's gonna be weird because then you go, well, who do you pick now? You know what I mean? So I think it's definitely transitioning to more of like a
Seahawks.
You know what I mean? Who do you insulate? Yeah, but what if Russ is just one bad hit? They're all one hit away.
They are one hit
You know what I mean? So. It is what it is. Appreciate it while you got it. Is what I'm saying. All right, let's last topic of the day. Let's talk some pro wrestling here, real quick to close the show. Kyle's favorite topic, Wonder Twin Powers activate. I want to talk about AEW though, and the reason why I want to talk about this, we're a couple months in now at this point, right? And the ratings are kind of stagnant, right? NXT and AEW are kind of going back and forth now. NXT had like a 2-week win streak. AEW wins this week by the slimmest, I think, a couple thousand more views, I think, total. I think it was like 6,000 or 8,000 more people watched AEW than NXT. So super duper close. So, Mike, I want to ask you, though, has the shine or the varnish or the excitement around AEW kind of like... Has it like at least somewhat or something kind of died down? And are you just kind of more like this is kind of they're just here now? And are you just kind of waiting to see what next big thing happens? Because I feel like right now it's like AEW for the first month, what's going to happen? What's it going to be? What's the show going to be like? But now we kind of get the feel of what every week is going to kind of be like.
Yeah.
Do you think that over time, like, we'll be still excited to see them, or are they just there now? You know what I mean?
I think there are points where they are there. I think they do a really good job lead up to a big major pay-per-view and the shows directly after.
Yeah.
I think they hurt a little bit in WWE for how much crap we give them. We kind of just look at them now and go, it's not as bad because of the fact that you have the monthly pay-per-view system.
Yeah, right.
I think if AEW had the monthly pay-per-view system, you can kind of look at it because their storylines would progress more. AEW is more of like a long-term, 8 months down the road they're thinking kind of thing, and not like right now. So like you're like, all right, Jericho's not doing it. Like he's versing Jungle Boy in 2 weeks for the AEW Championship. Like that's a match, but you're like, I'm not invested. I'm not invested in this storyline. The tag team, I'm not invested in it right now because nothing's really happening. Everything's just kind of stagnant. Where like when WWE does their stuff every month, you're like, okay, this match is happening on this pay-per-view, and you're like, wow, it seems bigger. So I think they're just kind of hurting from their quarterly pay-per-views right now,
for sure,
a little bit. And
I think too what you're seeing is and this is something that, and we talked about this yesterday too, in preparation for the show, where I said I don't feel like sometimes there's a sense of urgency, like not somewhere like, okay, we gotta get the story like developed right now. Like I'm okay with long-term booking. I'm good with that. But what I'm kind of having a problem with a little bit is I feel like sometimes there's matches just for matches' sake sometimes. Yeah. And I don't feel like, with that being said, and I'm okay with that, but if you're not attempting to get a talent over in those like throwaway matches, right, where MJF's facing Brandon Cutler, right, MJF's winning that match, obviously, right, but if there is not something where you're getting MJF closer to that feud with Cody or whatever you're doing, I feel like you're kind of just sitting there, right? Well, like Dark Order, right, is another where it came with all the hubbub, and now it failed. It was a failure. You know what I mean?
Agree, because that's what I look at is I think they have too many long-term storylines. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Where I need some stuff to like kind of happen in between the big stuff. I can have some subplots.
That's what I mean. Like I want this tag team like 3-way like troublesome trying to all fight for the titles while the over arc of the world title is happening. So I have stuff I'm invested in watching every single week. Plus I'm like, okay, but long term, Moxley really wants AEW title, and that's going to happen 3 months from now.
Right, he's working towards Jericho, but in the meantime, he's running a buzzsaw through everybody. Yeah. That you get good matches because Moxley's on the show, but he's working towards this. Yeah. But to your point, I just want something else to be like, okay, outside of the Inner Circle for a second, I need more. Because right now, outside of the Inner Circle and MJF and Cody, there is nothing else happening on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing right now going on where I can go, oh yeah, this is happening. You know? Like, where are the Bucks?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where's Kenny? What are we doing, right? We're not doing anything, right? They're putting on great matches, no doubt. But sometimes matches for matches' sake don't help anybody.
Yeah. They almost have... People are saying that they don't have enough stars. I think they're almost, like, too front-loaded.
Right. There's nobody in that second tier right now. It's okay. Bucks are great. Lucha Bros are great, right? SCU great. Cody great. Private. But yeah, you're trying to elevate, and I get it. You're trying to elevate everybody to this top level, but at some point you got to have people below that where you can for these people to beat or to ascend, and these guys go down, and there's a cyclical process. I just feel like right now they're kind of trying to figure out who they have and where they're trying to go, and I don't feel like they're doing a super great job of developing your talent that you have outside of what that brand that they already had, right? Like, if you know who Joey Janela was before now, you would, the only reason why you know him, because outside of that, all you know is that he got his butt kicked against Moxley, had a good match against him, and he's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know who Jimmy Havoc is right now because he's only been in 3 matches. You know what I mean? But I do because I knew him before.
And I also think they kind of like give up on people because like Darby Allin gets his push.
And now he's been off TV for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's extremely tough. It's something to keep an eye on for, because I do think that's something that, as a startup company with as many big names as they have, hard to get everybody on the show every single week.
I think that's the little thing NXT's doing well. Because they give all their titles to Era, and now they just go, Era, you're going to go there, you're going to go there, and you're going to go there, and it's kind of like
some sub-storylines to keep people invested on the television side while we're waiting for TakeOver to happen. Absolutely. All right. We got. Are we?
I think they're revealing them right now.
Are they revealing them right now? I don't know if we have enough tape on our on the YouTube side. It's going to be really, really close here. We may have some breaking announcements here. Let's just see. I mean, are they actually going to do it, or are we going to have to do this?
No, it's going to be about 10 minutes.
It's going to be 10 minutes? Yeah, we're not going to have that kind of time. But here's what we will do, though. Next week, opening the show, we're going to go 1 through 4. We're going to break down each matchup. We're calling our winners, and we're declaring a national champion. That's right. We are making it. We're writing it down. We're marking it down in the books right now. Who the national champion is going to be beginning of next week's episode. You do not want to miss it. For the Whaleman, for the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan, and we will see you guys right here next week.